Hey guys, today I want to address a very important question. What is the difference between silicone and human skin? If you're practicing yourself or you're training your apprentice, this video could be very helpful for you. We're going to be tattooing different surfaces with different needles, and we're going to include fruits and silicone to show the differences and what that teaches you as a tattoo artist. Thank you guys so much for watching. Before we start, please smash that like button and subscribe. All right, let's try out this fruit. All right, guys, so I have different types of silicone here. And what we talked about is that silicone is very different than skin. But why is silicone so different? There's a lot of different reasons, and I just want to go over a few of them with you in general, just to teach you a little bit more about tattooing. So first off, silicone is much firmer and denser than human skin. So it also doesn't stretch. So we see it doesn't stretch and it's super firm. And they're all pretty much the same, maybe a little slightly more stretch in the TruSkin. These ones have zero stretch. And maybe just a bit of stretch there. But none of it matters because you can't stretch them like you can stretch human skin, and that interaction you probably won't learn. So in order to get around that, the best thing to do is when you're practicing to still practice a 3-point stretch when you're holding your machine so that you can create a good line. So you want to hold with the hand that is tattooing as well as the index and thumb on the other side. Or you can use a fist if you want, but you're going to find that you need kind of a third point here to get that perfect line. So you want that 3-point stretch. If you practice that way on the silicone, it will only help you more when you get to skin. But since you don't need to stretch the silicone to make a good line, that is one of the pitfalls of using the silicone. Another thing we noticed about silicone is that you seem to need to go a lot deeper to get a good solid line. Human skin, you don't need to go quite as deep. I would say you have to go at least 2 millimeters in some of these silicones to get a good solid line. I would say you only have to go 1 to 2 millimeters on real human skin. So that is a very important thing to remember in your learning process. In terms of ink on the surface of the silicone versus ink on the surface of skin, there are some differences. So when you go into the wiping process on skin, you generally don't want to do any excess wiping because you're going to get rid of your stencil, and that plasma tends to get a little sticky over time and it can smear and be really hard to manage. Silicone also, it's hard to wipe things away, but it actually is easier in a way because it doesn't mix with that plasma and have that interaction of that fluid where it could get a little sticky. It could be hard to wipe away so that you would need actual soap to see your line. At that point, you might have wiped away your stencil and you've gotten too far. So there's lots of challenges when you get to skin. Part of it is just knowing that you have a good line in by feel. You'll get there, but initially you're going to have to check your line. And the best thing to do is to start at an edge far away from the stencil, maybe in just a part of the outline of the image. Just make sure you're always watching after you put a line in if you're a beginner, because you want to make sure it's not patchy right away. Otherwise, you could put all your lines in the same way. Obviously, with silicone, the ink just kind of sits in on the surface of the material. And if you can wipe it away, it means you didn't go deep enough. So you basically want to make sure you have a solid line on the silicone. So what we want to learn is how to properly tattoo different materials, not just how to tattoo. Different materials will give us different kinds of sensations, which will help us know how to deal with thicker or thinner skin or different types of areas of the skin, etc., etc. There's all kinds of challenges as tattoo artists that we have with skin surface. It's not just obvious. It's not just, oh, I got a tattoo done one time and now I'm a tattoo artist. You have so many things on the body to learn how to do. So mastering different skin thicknesses and different surfaces will help you achieve that in the real setting. So you can do that with fruit, silicone, and different kinds of things, and we're going to try that right now. Another thing to mention is if you go too slow in skin, you may see some ink pulling or oversaturation. Also, if you go too deep or too slow, both of those things in skin, you will get that feedback. You will not get that feedback on the silicone. You can't see that ink pulling. So if you grab a piece of fruit, that will definitely help you to see that process a little easier. It does have more of that ink pulling and emulates skin a little more closely. So obviously, because silicone doesn't heal, you can't watch it heal and gauge whether you had those blowouts or did that extra trauma, or if the skin is actually healing and the ink looks too light. So all those things will tell you what you've done wrong during your session. So obviously that's an advantage to getting into skin. So hopefully you have someone out there who's willing to help you out. All right, so oh my gosh, there's so many different types of silicone. So this is a TruSkin. Let's see what that looks like. This is a 9-round liner. I'm using a Mast Pro liner. We're also using the Dragonhawk Fold Pro 2024. All right, I've always wanted to kind of do this, so I'm just gonna move from side to side and then I'm gonna give you a turn. So I want to feel them kind of one after another, you know what I mean? And I want you to do the same. So that's what you guys can do at home with your Apprentice. You just kind of go from one to the other. Now, do you guys see which silicone this is? Recognize this from Amazon? Okay. Ooh, different than the last one. I'm definitely getting in better than the TruSkin. So the TruSkin's more difficult to learn on. That's good to know. Which is probably a little bit easier here to get in. And I'm wondering... Ooh, ran out of ink. Ooh, harder to clean this one off. Okay, who cares though, right? If it's a little cheaper and it works just as good. Feel like that's getting in there. Definitely darker. See how that's darker? I just ran out of ink there, but it's definitely darker, more saturated. I feel like I can see more of the needles getting in than the TruSkin. So what does that tell us? This is probably a different body part than this part. That doesn't mean you won't have someone that's like the TruSkin. You could have someone like this or like this. So now I'm gonna move to this next one. Usually do like one good line, one good curve. That tells me a lot, I feel like, just in that little amount of time. Oh, this one's really hard. A lot of resistance on this one. I'm guessing it's going in better though. It's funny, there's kind of different kinds of skin types, and I feel like each of these is similar to those different types of skin types. So I don't know if there's one that I would like more than the other. If you're learning, I feel like you should just try them all to get the different feelings, if you can. Of course, if you're on a budget, you might want to just buy the Amazon one. We've shown that one works really well so far. Don't get the super thin Amazon one. So there's two different kinds. Here's the trash. Trash over here, good over here. Trash, good. See the difference? It's just thickness. This stuff you're not going to learn much on. It's too flexible. It's too stiff. It doesn't actually stretch at all. I also think I've never seen anybody tattoo it well, so. Well, you got pretty close. I'll show what she's got here. Definitely you can tattoo it. It's if you're really on a budget, you can get these really cheapy ones. I just feel like you won't learn as much. Here's another one. There's nothing that compares to this as far as skin goes, I don't think. These two are the least like skin. Okay, so far of these three, I still like the TruSkin the best. I feel like it's the most challenging to get a good line, and it trained me the best for skin, I have to say. You can also make good marks in these two. I feel like they go in a lot faster and easier, maybe a little more replicating like what superficial skin would do. This one more than this one. This one's a little thicker. We also have real skin, R-E-E-L skin, in the form of this face here. I did some eyebrows on them a while back just to see what that was like. I'm gonna do a little teardrop here. 9-round liner on a face. It's intense. Forget like what the real skin actually feels like. The real skin feels like real skin. I gotta say. I haven't used it in a while. Yeah, so the upside of real skin is it feels very much like human skin. I think it does. Like, it goes in really fast as well, because skin takes ink pretty quickly, unless it's just really thick areas. This one also, the surface of the silicone gets damaged quite a bit. So that's the downside of the real skin, is for some reason it's so soft that the surface actually gets damaged to the real skin. Kind of fix the overall look of your final product, but other than that, it just feels like super soft skin that you're gonna damage easily. So it is a good practice. You might even have to like turn down your settings to do better on this, or stuff like that. So that's kind of how they compare. We have from softer skin here, we'd say was the softest was the real skin. Then next we have the two cheaper ones. I would say make easier marks, although they're not as soft as the TruSkin. The TruSkin is softer, but you have to go in deeper to get a good mark. So this would be good for 9-round liner practice, getting in those needles a little deeper into the skin to make a mark. You're gonna have to do that usually with a 9-round liner on like thicker skin. So thicker skin, softer skin, and I guess these are somewhere in between. I would say they're pretty similar to each other. And none of these are actually human skin, so we can't replicate the pooling of the ink under the tissue. We can't replicate the plasma or the stretching. But in my opinion, at home, if you're watching this and you want the best possible skin you can get that will challenge you the most, go for the TruSkin. Okay, now I'm gonna have my apprentice try out the different surfaces and just see how they feel. I want you mostly for this to feel the different textures and like how hard it is to get that line in there perfectly for each one.
Okay.
For me, it might not take as many passes like the first time I'm getting in, and for you it might take a couple, which is fine. Do you want to start with, we're gonna skip the really thin stuff because we know we don't like it as much.
Yeah. Couple of passes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
difficult.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. No, it's okay. So you felt that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna move you to this one now. Try that one. Okay. See the difference. And make sure your hole is this way too. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're good. Do you feel the difference between the two?
Yeah.
Okay. Which one's easier to make a mark on?
That one.
You think this one's easier to make a mark on? Okay.
I mean, maybe once we wipe it away, we'll see.
I know, right? Deceiving. Probably. Okay, cool. I think your marks got in similarly. Which one looks darker? Can you tell? They're pretty similar. Yeah. Pretty similar. I think I see more of your needles going in there. See how it looks a little thicker there?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, it's like cleaner, I guess.
Yeah. There's a trade-off, right? So here, let's try the next one. It's like there's things you like and don't like about each, probably. That sounds like it's getting in there. See, that one's pretty stiff, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a difference. That's like a shin. I feel like that one's the closest to like a shin for some reason. And it gets in so fast. I feel like it gets in pretty quick. Mm-hmm. You got in the deepest with that one. Do you feel like you just pushed harder?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Do you want to try doing your set again? Try going back to the beginning.
Again.
Yeah,
Okay.
it might be fun to go like
Back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Now you know to go deeper, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then make sure you're holding it. Use your needle ledge as well.
I might be wrong.
As long as something's supporting you at the bottom and you're not feeling like you're going to tattoo your finger. Yeah, see, I like the TruSkin too. It feels like a little easier
like
to
more
control.
buttery.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just harder to penetrate, which I think is a liar. It's a liar pants on fire.
Yeah.
Deceiving a little bit. So you probably will get in skin just fine doing that if you're not on like a tough area. It is valid for those tougher spots, which I think makes it like an excellent skin to work on, because I'm not worried about those thin spots. I'm kind of more worried about getting it in the thicker. If you think about it, it's easier not to like destroy someone and to stay superficial.
Yeah.
You're going to learn that on the fruits, by the way.
Okay.
So now that we've done a couple comparisons here, do you feel pretty good about like what silicone has to offer and like kind of what you're doing? Maybe you have a favorite one by the time you're done here. Do you still like the TruSkin the best?
I do, but I mean, I could
like this guy too.
Yeah, that seems more
Try
like
that one again.
in between.
Yeah. Try that one again. Get a better mark in that one. Yeah, I think when you get to your show pieces, you can buy a few of these. But in the meantime, these should be good. Yeah, I think that's pretty, like, accurate. Like, that's probably what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fine. All right, so we've determined we like this silicone the best for the cost and et cetera, et cetera. All right, so we found that the Amazon silicone is probably going to be your best value and give you the best result. It's not as challenging as the TruSkin. When you get to be more challenging, you might want to jump on that and give that a try. It's going to be better for larger needle groupings, etc. So this was really fun, but we can see that silicone has its limitations. We can't see how much really ink is going in any given point. Maybe the fruit can help with that. So the fruit should help us because we should see under the surface a little better as we place the ink in. I haven't actually tattooed any fruit for a really long time. I'm just gonna do a little bit of the melon and maybe a little bit of an orange, and then pass it over to you for practice today, and then you'll be free to do as you wish on these fruits. We'll take a few pictures as she goes. We might show a couple of her creations at the end, but mostly we just want to show that you can try these different fruits with your apprentice. So let's try this melon. So I turned it down because it's a melon. I don't know if I'm going to destroy it. I'm at 7 volts. I could probably come down maybe 6.8. It's because I just don't know what's gonna happen yet. Oh. But I'm pretending this is a person. So if this is a human being and this is their skin, I don't know. I'm just gonna pretend that it's soft skin because it's a melon. I don't remember if it tattoos hard or soft, but I'm gonna approach it with care. So I just have everything turned down right now. I have it at 3.6 for my stroke, which is not the highest, and I have it at 6.8. I could go up to 7 for lining, which is kind of on the lower side. So let me just off the top here. Okay, so I can definitely feel it getting in a little bit more similar to like the way it feels in skin here. So after that first pass, I do feel like I can feel the texture of the honeydew a lot more than I could feel anything with the silicone. There's like no feedback with the silicone. In actual skin, you do get some feedback. So you can actually hear some of the popping and the movement of the needle through the melon tissue there. So that's like a little bit more similar to the sensation of doing a real tattoo. When I change direction, I can also feel a little bit of resistance the way you would in tissue, which I like, because that will teach you that when you push instead of pull, you have to be very careful as you move through the tissue not to do too much damage. I do feel like it's showing that better. So far I'm really liking this melon. Just a little bit of A&D on this melon. If we don't have anything else to wipe it with. What should we wipe with? What did you wipe your banana with? Water?
Ointment of some sort.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. Yeah, there we go. It's cleaning up. Good, so I guess we can look here and see like how to assess this. So you can kind of see where I went deeper or more superficial, and you can better assess where those points where you're turning, how it kind of gouges and can go a little bit deeper, can throw your needle off. So you just want to make sure not to go too deep in those spots. This should also tell us if we blew someone out. I'm guessing once we peel the rind. For right now, we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to tattoo it, but obviously if my 9-round liner went too deep, it would go right through the melon surface. So it actually feels really fun. That's gonna be fun for you. I'm not gonna hog it though because it's your day. I'm gonna move. I know. I'm gonna move to this orange. I just want to feel this orange. Cool. So, I mean, obviously freehanding is going to be so much easier on any of this stuff because Sharpie doesn't really stick too well on these shiny surfaces. It tends to wipe off, but you can potentially use a Sharpie on these surfaces to get what you want. You can use a Sharpie on the melon as well. I just think that it's a little bit easier to go freehand when you're doing fruits because it just takes so much time to try to get a stencil on. Again, you can try drawing a stencil with the Sharpie. That's the best you can do. Okay, so I have this orange here. An orange definitely has a thicker surface, a more rough surface than the melon. So let's see how that feels different. Definitely breaking through that melon quickly, so. I would say, yeah, I can see why they tell you to do fruit. Trying to see if the different areas feel different. That feels pretty good. So as I'm going, it's like citrusing so much. So that's why a lemon is not good. Oh. Like I can taste it. So it will show you direction too. Like when you hear it catching in the orange, it's because you're going the wrong direction. You want to just adjust your hands. Yeah, I'm adjusting my hand to like pull. You can really hear it. So that's interesting. Like it does seem to have, I guess I gotta do eyes now. I didn't really plan on finishing this thing.
Is it like a grain thing? Like playing with the grain kind of?
So you'll never know like exactly what's going on underneath, but yes, that is kind of what it is. But it's not against the grain. It's more like your needle has a direction, and if you go the wrong way with the needle, you're going to feel it catch. So I can tattoo this direction. I just can't go too deep like this. Yeah. It's like once you go, like I'm going to try to blow it out just to see if you can, okay? That's a blow it off. I don't even know if you can, but we'll peel it later and find out if that's a blowout. But really fun. I think overall, if you're learning at home and you're not trying to complete a showpiece that you're going to bring to convention after convention, you might want to practice on oranges or melons because I feel like they do give a little bit better sense of what organic tissue really could feel like. I'm at a 3 for stroke length and 5 volts with the shader. I just want to see if I can shade a melon. You know what? You can. I forgot. You can do everything. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, got a different feel to it. It's so fun. It's deceivingly easy though, so that's the one thing. All right, so we tried shading a little bit on the melon. I just want to show what you're going to get when you try to use a mag and things like that. You might be able to achieve more of a lining thing with it on the side, or if you turn it the length way on the side versus the short way on the side. But if you're trying to shade, it's going to get very dark very fast. This does not happen in the skin. I actually got a little scared when I was working on Honeydews the first time. I remember this now. It got really dark with the shading, but that is just a product of the way this Honeydew reacts with the ink. The lining is really going to be the best practice with this, and the whip shading, of course, you're going to be able to do that on this as well. So this is great practice for your apprentice, and I'm going to hand it over to Bridget now so she can try out the Honeydew and the orange and just see how those feel, and then we will show what she comes up with. All right, we have learned so much tattooing these different surfaces. I think you guys should do it too, even if you are a tattoo artist or an apprentice. I think it's fun to go back and try some fruit. If you haven't done it for a while, give it a try. You might be surprised at how similar it is to skin. Thank you guys so much for watching. Smash that like button and subscribe. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.